Alright, it is Tuesday, January 14th, 2014. And I wanted to talk about the gold. I know Germany has asked for a certain amount of its gold back. And it just got a small, teeny tiny shipment of 34 tons. I think they are repatriating 370 tons. And they're supposed to be doing it over the next 7 years. The first payment was made. They said that they had to recast the gold, and then they were only able to ship 37.5 tons. That was probably where your cash for gold went. Not really sure who runs those little pawn shops, but there's probably not much left in the vaults. Not if Germany's asking for its gold back, at least some of it. They get put on a 7-year schedule to repay just a tiny fraction of it, and then the first payment supposed to be made is not even, what is it? I think it's about a third of what it was supposed to be. So there's no gold. The West doesn't have any gold. We are going to wake up. It's going to happen overnight. There's no other way that I see this thing going down other than something happening very, very rapidly. The information's out there. The people that are doing the research and following all of this financial news on the fringe, we're all well aware of this. This is, no new information has come out or is going to come out that we don't already know. The only thing we're really waiting on is for the mainstream media to get their marching orders from the banks who own them, and for them to come out and admit, yeah, the U.S. doesn't have any gold. Or have Jack Lew over at the Treasury or Janet Yellen over from the Fed come out and say, yeah, we don't have any more gold. Now, at first, I don't think that you'll see a reaction in Wall Street, and you'll see a reaction in the bond market, and of course you'll see a reaction in the gold market. But as far as your average Joe on the street, it's going to take some time before they realize the full ramifications of that, because they're very, very slow. People like me who are constantly looking out in the future and are gathering up as much information as we can, we're usually way too early to the party, and that's okay. I don't mind being early to the party because it takes patience. Above all, if you are going to be out, getting ahead of the game and being out, way ahead of your time, you have to be prepared to be patient, because it's going to take some time for everybody else to figure out what you know and to catch up. So even though, we know these prices are manipulated down, gold and silver being smashed down, and people are growing impatient. People who bought at, 35, 32, 30, I bought at all those levels, even 45. I didn't buy any at that point. But, I buy a little bit when I can. And so it's frustrating to see the price at the absolute lowest at what you bought at. All I can say is keep averaging into it and get some more. because the fundamentals haven't changed. You can ride momentum, anywhere in any market, and it really doesn't matter what the market is. But for long-term stuff, you've got to be looking at fundamentals. How much is there? How much is it needed? How much is going to be produced in the future? How much inputs, energy inputs, labor inputs does it take to produce whatever it is you're getting? And then making projections with all that information. And there is no equal to silver. Frankly, if I had the money to buy gold, if I had millions and millions of dollars to dump, I would not buy gold, because gold ultimately doesn't have a utility outside of money. Silver does. And above ground silver supply is 6 times less than gold, because most of our silver has been used up in industrial and electronic stuff, and that stuff is in use now, or is in the dump, because it's used in such small quantities that there's not a recycling program yet. Let silver go to $1,000 an ounce, and you might start seeing shops pop up that try to extract as much silver as they can from these electrical components, including even the silver solder. But the point is we as a country, we're left with paper. That's all we have left. There's a printing press and these digits that go in and out of bank accounts, and they're being infinitely created. Listen to the latest Jim Willie, and he made the point, what's the difference between 17 trillion and 20 trillion? Not really much. And I agree with that. I mean, once you get to the level of debt and money supply that we have, it really stops meaning anything. It's just so far beyond the numbers that that we can grasp. I don't know where this ends up, but we know that the Chinese, they're buying up the country, they're buying up the land, and I see a day where entire states, all the national parks have already been turned over. The UN is holding them probably in trust for China and other treasury bond holders. That's probably, at this point, what's backing anybody's desire to purchase treasuries. But now that there's been so many treasuries issued, there's only so much land. So further dilution of and issuing of treasury bonds, and then on top of that, the Fed buying them. The foreigners holding the treasury bonds now are making their move to swap those treasuries for whatever physical assets, both nailed down and not. They're virtually taking the land. And Thomas Jefferson said, I'll leave you with this quote. Thomas Jefferson said, if you allow these private banks to issue the nation's currency, you are going to wake up bankrupt and homeless on this continent. And it's going to be a bad day. It's going to be a really bad day when people finally are told this. I think the people who are going to find out about it already have. The rest of the drones, I like to call them, other people like to call them zombies, the rest of them are going to wake up until There's either Chinese troops at the entrances to national parks telling them, no, you can't come in here, or the mainstream media comes out and says, you can't go there anymore. That house that you paid for, well, the land was bonded and used as collateral for the treasury bonds. So even though you paid off your house, the government still sold your house and your land, and now you have to move. But it's okay, we have a camp that you can stay at, and we have this Chinese industrial park that you can go work at if you're a good worker. Oh, and by the way, you still owe us all the money for your unpaid portion of the mortgage or credit cards, debt that you have, any of that. You still owe that, and so you'll get a chance to have a reduced rent at our camp, and you'll be able to work off that debt at this industrial park. And if you don't like it, we have goons that will put bullets in your brains. That's how this ends, folks. And it's going to take a repudiation of the debt and prosecution of the basically every living president and most of Congress and the Senate. I'm not willing to turn over the land to the Chinese, but I am willing to turn over Bill Clinton and Hillary and Obama and Bush and the rest of them that made the deals that sold our land to them. They can have those people. They're not going to get the land, as far as I'm concerned. That's all. Take care.